In the last episode, my best friend Freddy gave me two cars. This Noble M12 that was burned and this Noble M400 that was wrecked. And together, we are gonna make one car.
Ta-da! It's your new car.
What is this?
It's your problem now.
Welcome to the Noble Junkyard. Take a look at all of these parts here. We have two different bodies. We have doors. We have a clamshell over here, we have the burn car, we have the rolling chassis, the engine and all that stuff. And I have parts over there that I didn't lay out on the floor because it would pretty much cover the whole shop. Now in this episode, I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I did all the work to the fiberglass, which was done almost a year ago. So that's enough talking, let's get started. When Freddy and I decided to keep this piece off the M12, we had no idea what it would be useful for because we didn't have the M400 yet. But boy were we happy when we found out that this was going to fix the shell on the M400. So people say if you want a challenge, you have to try new things. I've actually never done anything like this before. I have a lot of experience with working on cars, but when it comes to this stuff, I really don't know my way around it, but I can kind of figure it out. So I got a section of the burn car here, and this is all fiberglass. This here is all fiberglass here. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cut it across here, and I'm gonna cut it up and across here, and I'm gonna section in this piece right here. I really hope this works because I don't know what I'm doing, and I mean, this car is really cool. I don't wanna mess this up, so. All right, let's do it. Let's cut this thing. With some rough measurements and some lines marked out on both panels, I began to make my cuts. Now I start the process of graphing on the M12 piece onto the M400. So there is absolutely no way that I could know exactly where this is supposed to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure off of that side to reference this side. There's no sectioning procedures. There is no opening measurements. So let's see what it looks like. I'm gonna measure from this bottom spot here. It's kind of like a rough estimate, but it'll be about the same on the other side. It's measuring 34.5. Let's check the other side. 34.5 on the money. I don't understand how that is possible, but I'll take it because, yeah, I'll take it. Now with the panels measured and fit into place, it was time to prep everything for the fiberglass repair. Here I remove the plastic protective film along with the door sill sticker. The next step for me is to clean everything off here and get it ready for the fiberglass repair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this aluminum tape, I'm gonna reinforce it from the back side here so that when I drop my resin in, it doesn't drip all the way through. And then I can take my fiberglass hair and do my repair here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that to set in place so that everything is firm and in place and not gonna move again. And then when we remove the body, I will do a structural repair to the back side of this. This is actually the piece where the door mounts. So there is no structure that is going to be holding the door on. When the door got hit, when this car got hit, the door ripped off with the pillars. So I'm actually gonna modify this car because it is a kit car and you can make it better. That's the whole cool thing about fixing kit cars, is that you can modify them to make them better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually add a steel structure coming off of the body where the actual steel structure is on the car. Did that sound right? Because it didn't sound right to me. Yeah, I'm gonna make it better. If you're like me, you're always looking for your next project car, and thanks to today's sponsor, Car Vertical, they make that really easy to find out your vehicle's history report, just like this R8 here that I have on screen. And as you see, when I click the green light on odometer, it shows that there's been no odometer fraud. I click the green light over here for theft, and it shows that this car has never been stolen. When I click the green light over finance, it shows that there is no outstanding finance on this car. But when I do a title check, it shows that this car has been in an accident and has a salvage title. When I click on the Photos tab, you can actually see the pictures from the car crash auction website. So whether you're looking for a new car or just want to check out your vehicle's history report, click the link in the description below and use code JBI at checkout and get 10% off your next Car Vertical check. I have the headliner pulled down. This is a pretty cool looking headliner. It's got like diamond stitch on it, but it's just, it looks like contact adhesive holding it up here. Now that I got it down, I can see where the crack ends on the inside. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna go to the top and drill through where the crack ends so that I don't have any more cracking happening later on because the crack wasn't fully repaired. I have to pull this Alcantara back. Once I get this all the way back, I'll be able to see exactly what I need. Cover up all these bars here, and I think I can do the repair on the car. Maybe, maybe not, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna give it a shot because this is a lot of work to take this thing off. I've got most of it apart. The dash still has to come out because there needs to be repaired on there, but let's get moving because there's a lot to do. With the crack ground all the way down, I put some aluminum tape behind it and started my fiberglass repair. With all the fiberglass repairs done to the outside, Freddy and I remove the body and have a quick celebration. And that was a well-deserved celebration because we took about 3 hours to remove this dash and all the AC components underneath. Now I strategically lay out fiberglass hair and resin, careful to get all of the air bubbles out so that this repair will be strong and resist further cracks in the future. Repairing the pillar was a challenge, but thankfully we had the old piece from the M12 to repair the M400 body. The reason I'm keeping this body is because I don't want to have to completely redo and refit everything to this new shell that I have here standing behind me. So now the next step was finding a way to make a fender. And that's right, I had to make a fender. This fender was completely gone, there was nothing left of it, and I had no idea where I was going to be able to get one, but I did have the burn car fender, which was totally unusable on the outside, but the inside structure was still good. So this is how I actually was able to make a skin for that fender. Now I cover the outside of the burned fender with aluminum tape, making essentially a mold. I covered that with wax, and then I laid my fiberglass and my fiberglass resin on top of that.
After pulling the mold, I removed the old burn layer that was on the old fender, clean everything with acetone, and then use panel bond to put my new skin onto the old fender shell.
So as you can see here, now I have the old fender fit up to the section that I put in this car. And everything that I put in this car is from here around like you saw before, but this actually turned out really, really well. I am very happy with the way this came out. The body line is very close to where it needs to be. Obviously, all of this is gonna need to get body worked, but I mean, man, we made a big save right here. This is a rare part, and probably if you can find any of them, I mean, it's going to be damaged or it's going to have some kind of issues that need to be fixed. So this is one thing that we solved for less than $30 with a cheap AutoZone fiberglass kit and a little bit of aluminum tape to make the mold off of the old fender. But dude, turned out really good. Take a look at this one compared to the old one. So this is the one that came off of the M400 that was good, and it looks about the same. Everything lines up the same. The edge here looks very similar. Sweet. Let's keep going. So this is the race car door, and the problem with the race car door is it is a race car door. There is no structure at all in this. The only thing to firm up the door on the inside is this piece here. This is actually a piece of wood that was used where they bonded this all together. On the regular door, it is completely different. So what I'm gonna have to do, and what you're gonna see now, is how I came up with an idea to use the old door and put everything from the old door inside the race car door.
Here I carefully cut the wood out across the top of this door. I'm gonna have to be extremely careful here because I have to make an edge for the belt molding to go onto. Now this is a very critical spot right here. I cannot cut too much and I cannot cut too little. I use tape around the edge of the door so that I have a good space to know where to cut. What I'm going to do with this piece here is I'm going to trace it onto the other door, cut a thin layer off of the other door, and then bond these two pieces together. Sounds pretty complicated, but it's really just basic as you see here. Now I cut the hole and add in the old door handle from the burn car door.
And with the power of YouTube magic, now you can see the door is finished. I didn't get any video of when I was bonding this piece on here, but you got the concept where I was cutting it out and using this piece as a template. Let me give you a little bit of a closer look. So as you see, I have taken everything and bonded along this line. What I did was I beveled the edges of both panels. I made them kind of downward like that with a grinder. And then I took the fiberglass and fiberglassed on the inside, as well as the outside here. So now I should be able to use all of the parts that go in that door there. The only thing that I'm running into a little bit of an issue with is whether or not to use the factory mirror. I like the way the factory mirror looks on the car, but I think we can come up with something a little bit better. That's a problem for later, but right now, as you can see, everything looks really good. It mounted up really well. I even made this access hole here so that I would have a little bit more access to the inside, and I will probably do something with that later, but for now, that's gonna stay. This thing looks pretty good. One of the other things that we did to the car here was I added the handle back in. I am thinking about doing something different there, but as you can see now, it looks pretty good. If I decide to keep this on there, I will only have to clean this up and do some body work. Here you can see the resin on the edge here from where I had taped the back and molded everything in from the backside. The next step is getting this door all body worked and ready. I got to mount a few more parts on it, but this looks pretty good. Now that you've seen exactly how I was able to make this door fit into place and get everything ready to go back on the car, the next step is going to be to bodywork that. But before I bodywork it, I want to double check and make sure everything is really rigid and not going to break. Speaking of ridge, I still have my Ridge wallet that I've had now for about 3 months, had no issues with it, and it's been holding up really well. Along with the ring. The rubber ring is really handy and good for me because touching these cars after they're finished, like my Evo, I definitely don't want to scratch them. And I'm super thankful to Ridge for supporting this channel, and if you guys use my link in the description below, use my code, and you'll get an extra 10% off your next purchase with Ridge. Thanks again to Ridge for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to finishing the rest of the Noble. Here is the replacement front clamshell. So this is actually from a race car. And on race cars, you're not really worried about headlights because you're not going to be doing nighttime driving mainly. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut this, modify this, and make the headlights fit into this thing here. One of the things that I've noticed about this piece here is it has a very thick primer on it. And that is because there has been a lot of body work. This was a rough shell. And when they were done with this, they weren't worried about having this thing perfectly refined because it hadn't gone on a car yet. So as you can see here, this body line kind of does one of these. It doesn't really look too good. There's a pinhole right here. There is some pinholes right here. It changes shape here. It does a bunch of different things, and as you can see, it gets a little wider at the end. That's normal, but I gotta make this nice and even all the way out. There's even more pinholes right here, and here, as well as over here, and over here. To get this panel absolutely perfect, there's gonna be a lot of work needed on this, but for now, that's okay. I'm gonna let this sit to the side while I dissect all the other problems that I have with the car. Thanks again for watching. In the next episode, we're going to take everything off of the burn car and start working on the M400 frame. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.